Spring is here, which means it's time for some much-needed spring cleaning, whether it's decluttering your messiest cabinets, buying organizational tools, or revamping your space. We've got an expert on all the things that we can have to break it down. So excited. Please welcome to the show, Catherine Sneerly.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
I think we're all like really excited for this.
Really.
Okay, your username, is Do It on a Dime. So I have to ask you about dollar stores. I don't know about a lot of dollar stores. I'm going to be going after this. Do they have underrated finds for home organization?
Absolutely. I feel with all the organizing trends now that we're seeing, when you go into the dollar store, you can find some really high-end stuff. Keep your eyes peeled for Lazy Susans. This is one of my favorite organizing products. I use this in my pantry for my medicine. Heck, I even put one of these in my fridge. They turn really nice. You can see all of those items in the back. I also, if you have fallen down the TikTok rabbit hole to see all those restocking videos and you want to do that, but on a budget, they have tons of those beautiful acrylic drawer organizers. You can get these for a couple bucks rather than $7 or $8 at other stores.
That's a lot of savings.
And really, when you're in the dollar store, you want to aim to have items that look uniform, right? So when you find a bin or container that fits your items, buy a bunch of them. It's going to give you that really satisfying look in your space. And you can do it on such a small budget.
That's fantastic.
I love that. The dollar store is my hack for parties because I don't care if it gets messed up, so I go there all the time for a party. So let's run through some of the messiest places in the house. First up, the cabinet that is filled with all of our mismatched Tupperware containers. How can we make this area easier to manage?
I feel like everybody has this cabinet, and I have the firm belief that whatever goblin steals your socks is the same goblin that steals your Tupperware lids. Do you know what I'm saying? So the first thing I would suggest is going through and seeing if you can minimize that space by 20%. And if you're struggling, ask yourself, could I realistically fit all of these items in my fridge anyway if they were all filled with food? And then once you've decluttered, especially the ones without tops or bases, and maybe you don't have a matching set, that is totally okay. Grab one of these storage containers. This is what you would store your pots and pans in, or maybe your chopping blocks. Now I can see all of my lids, even if they're not matching, and then I can nest my remaining containers. You want to make this easy, and you feel excited to put away your leftovers and hopefully eat them too.
This is my segment. I love it. I was telling them my Tupperware looks like that already. I'm a little ahead of the game.
Yeah, your closet
but
too.
yes,
Shout out to your closet.
I even have those replacement things that they have at the store where like you take like one out and one replaces it immediately. I have that. Like I'm crazy. But my junk drawer game is terrible. So let's talk about the infamous junk drawer. What can we do to make it less junky?
Listen, my junk drawer is the favorite spot of my house to organize because in 20 minutes, you have it completely clean. It's like an easy win that you could do right away. And your junk drawer is really telling you a story, and a story of the things that are not working in your home. If you've got those papers, extra light bulbs you're shoving in there, what that's really saying is I don't have a spot in my home for this yet. So take just a couple of minutes, find those items, the proper home they should go in. And then you can clear everything out. Give yourself a fresh slate. This is like that satisfying stuff, right? You could go through, clean it out. And I really recommend with each container in your drawer, keeping one type of item, whether it's pens, pencils, those things you're reaching for all the time. And hopefully then your family can help keep up with it too.
That tea bag drawer.
That looks so...
That would make me want to go back to someone's house.
You would have more tea.
I would want to just go over there all the time just so I could enjoy a cup of tea in a very fancy way. That sold me.
And a drawer?
Yes.
All right. I don't know how we're going to follow that, but let's try. What about basements and attics? A lot of empty nesters will fill these spaces with their kids' old stuff. My parents have all my old football stuff down there. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. How could they declutter all these sentimental things?
Send them to you.
Yeah, send them back.
I know, just maybe I should take them home.
Yes.
You should.
It's very heavy and shipping's expensive.
I feel like this type of stuff can be so hard because it's one of those things where I bet you don't even remember half the stuff that's in your basement or attic, but then suddenly you get up there and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I have this old coin collection my grandpa gave me, and suddenly everything starts to feel important. So what I would really recommend is slowing down, taking a look at what you have, making the easy decisions first and getting rid of those items. And then from there saying, okay, I'm gonna set a timer for 2 hours and come back to this. Are these things everything's really that important to me. And if you're still unsure, take some of those items, maybe it's old sports gear or that coin collection, put it in a box in your garage and seal it up. Don't look at it. My guess is you're going to forget half the items that were in there anyway. But if you haven't thought about those things, and after like 20 months or a year, you can go ahead and say, you know what, it is worth it to me to have a space I can access and get to easily than keeping all this stuff I'm never going to use. And when you think about it, when you give these things away, think about the new life that it can have. Think about that person who would actually enjoy that coin collection rather than it collecting dust in your house and you're tripping over it every time you want to get to the REITs.
Jeff's parents, you can give away those trophies.
Hey, I got all my Big Brother stuff down there. It's fun to go down memory lane.
It's been more than a year.
It's been 15.
Mrs. Schroeder, you may give it away. Catherine, thank you for all these helpful tips. DBL Nation, be sure to follow her on social media at Do It On a Dime. Thank you again, Catherine. Great tips.